This is part 2 of our Vatican City tour. We started the day very early in the morning with a guided tour of St. Peter's Basilica as well as the cupola. Inside of the church was amazing, and the views from the top of the cupola were spectacular. From here we could see the museums as well as the Sistine Chapel, and that's where we're headed next. Thanks for coming along on our journey. We hope you enjoy our visit to the Vatican Museums and the Sistine Chapel.
The Vatican Museum tour. Is it the museum tour? What tour are we doing?
Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, Sistine Chapel. And the Vatican Museum tour. The place is a zoo. We're just waiting for our tour guide.
For this tour, we purchased a ticket directly from the official Vatican website, and we reserved the date and time ahead of our visit. We chose to do this guided tour with an official Vatican tour guide, and we were so glad that we did. The museums were very crowded with people, and trying to find our way through the museums on our own would have been frustrating. Our guide not only gave us some great information about what we were seeing, but she was also able to navigate us around the crowds as best as possible. This area is known as the Museo Pio Clementino, and one of the areas is this octagonal court. It has some of the first ancient classical statues in the papal collections. Some of the famous pieces that have been here since the early 1500s are the Apollo Belvedere and the Laocoon and His Sons. Continuing on, we are entering the Sala Rontonda. This area is where the statues of Apollo and the 9 Muses are, as well as other statues by important Greek and Roman sculptors. And in the center is the Belvedere torso by Michelangelo. This beautiful artwork on the ceiling is a fresco by Tommaso Conca. This is the Sala Rontonda. This large hall with its hemispherical ceiling imitates that of the Parthenon. The walls carry a series of niches of statues and busts. The floor is an 18th century mosaic, and in the center of the room is a huge red basin with a circumference of about 42 feet. This area is known as the Gallery of the Candelabra. It gets its name from the marble candelabra as well as the large colored marble columns that divide the gallery into 6 sections. In this area you will also see a statue called the Artemis of Ephesus. She is known as the goddess of fertility. The collection of tapestries and textiles within the Vatican Museums may be considered one of the most ancient in existence. This area is one of my favorites. It's the Gallery of the Maps, and it was opened in 1581. It is a very long, narrow hall, almost 400 feet long by approximately 19.5 feet wide. It houses frescoed maps representing the various regions of Italy, as well as its major and minor islands. The large room next to Raphael's room is the Room of the Immaculate Conception. Francis Podesti, along with his team of workers, worked on this room from 1856 to 1865. Each wall, as well as the ceiling, are a story of frescoes dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The Raphael rooms consist of 4 rooms known as the Stanza of Raphael. They form part of the apartment situated on the 2nd floor of the Pontifical Palace at the request of Julius II della Rovere. The pictorial decoration was executed by Raphael and his school between 1508 and 1524. The Hall of Constantine was designed to be used for receptions and official ceremonies. Unfortunately, Raphael died before completing his work, so this room was finished by his school based on his drawings. The room is named after Constantine, who was the first Christian emperor to officially recognize the Christian faith and granted the freedom of worship. The Room of the Fire in the Borgo was used in the time of Julius II from 1503 to 1513. The room of Heliodorus was originally used for the private audiences of the Pope. The room shows the different historical moments from the Old Testament to the medieval history. The room of the Segnatura contains Raphael's most famous frescoes in addition to being his first work executed in the Vatican. There are 54 museums that make up the Vatican Museums, with the last one being the most famous, Sistine Chapel. This contains the masterpiece by Michelangelo. Since the Sistine Chapel is considered a holy place of worship, there is no talking allowed once inside. Therefore, our guide gave us lots of information about what we were going to see, so that once we were escorted into the room, there wasn't any talking beyond a faint whisper. In addition, you're not allowed to take photographs in the Sistine Chapel because the flash is known to damage the frescoes. However, we were able to capture a quick selfie without the flash as a memory of our visit. In general, our visit to the Vatican was very special and something we are so blessed to have been able to do. The large crowds are definitely something to be aware of, and therefore our recommendation would be to plan ahead, purchase a guided tour, and give yourself plenty of time to enjoy and take in all the magnificent sights. Thanks for coming along on Hubbard's journey. We hope you enjoyed our visit to the Vatican Museums, and if you haven't already seen it, check out how we started our morning very early with a tour of St. Peter's Basilica.